Hey guys, Dave Lalonic, Sticky RX. So here we are at the start of the project, racking up my 98 355 F1 GTS to do a clutch and throwout bearing overhaul. So here I've got the rear bumper removed, the custom exhaust has been removed from the car, of course the air boxes and things of that nature. And here I'm at the pumpkin. So in this video here, I've pulled the pumpkin off and inspecting the inside, and you can see it's pretty wet in here. There was a throw-on bearing leak which prompted all this. So you can see there's quite a bit of transmission fluid here, and it's all dirty on the inside. So of course, this will get all cleaned up and rectified before going any further. So not exactly sure what seal was leaking. I'll be into that when I go through the throw-on bearing, but it was definitely in the throw-on bearing seals. And this stuff is just basically ready to be completely overhauled. And again, this is an F1 car, which is why you see that sensor. So what you see next here is the pumpkin has been removed. And what I have done is designed and built a special tool. It's basically a plate with a jack screw to push the clutch flywheel assembly out of the pumpkin. And the pictures I'm showing here are from my 95. I didn't do any video for this purpose. So here we have the pumpkin, pretty filthy, and the pumpkin bearing is removed here, and this was the seals were leaking, so we'll take care of that. So here is the flywheel assembly. You can see it's pretty burned, and this is the original pressure plate. I've also measured the clutch disc, and it was worn. The SD was telling me it was at about 95% worn. So here is the pressure plate. Okay, so the old pressure plate area here, right in this zone you feel a wear mark, and it dips in. You can kind of see that right here. And then obviously it's got a lot of heat zone marks, very blued, so to speak. Well, red, I guess. So yeah, right in that grayish area, you can feel a dip. Now, on the flywheel itself, it's similar, but as I go across, yeah, I do feel a little change right here. Yeah, and that might be, you can see there's a little bit of, clutch material on there, so that might be what I'm feeling. Once I clean that off, see, I'm scraping it with my nail. It might not be into the steel. Yeah, right there you can see I'm kind of dragging. But if you look, you see the turn marks. So I don't think the flywheel is worn that much. I think once I clean that up, it'll be pretty decent. Okay, so I took a little bit of gray Scotch-Brite and a little WD-40 and cleaned up the flywheel just a little bit. I mean, you can see I didn't blow it off. I still got some debris there. But I just cleaned it up. And what's interesting is in this zone right here, you see the original turning marks from the flywheel. And what I find interesting is that these are not ground, they're turned. But you'll see right about here, they end. So it appears that the clutch disc was wearing in this zone here and not here. And the flywheel is worn down here, almost kind of burnished. You can see, of course, all the heat marks. So I assume, not the clutch rather, I assume the clutch disc was making contact in this zone and not in here. Again, if I scratch my nail here, you'll hear that. And here it's kind of smooth. Guys, so I decided to get a brand new reproduction Hill Engineering flywheel. Now what I've done here is I ordered a special pulling tool to get this center pilot bearing out. Okay, so I have the puller set up in the ID of the bearing. I've got a little bit of PB blaster here, so I'll spray a little of that around. I might have to let this penetrate for a little while. Yep, I think I'm getting it now. I think it's just started to move. Yep, there she comes. And there it is. Okay, so the PB Blaster definitely helped a bit. And there we go, the bearing's out. Now we've got a retaining clip in there. Let me get that out. Okay, so we got the clip out. Okay, so I picked up this new puller to try to pull the flywheel unit off this inside bearing. See if I can find a better spot here. Well, it seems okay. I'll give it a shot. Might slip out of there. A little off center. Okay, we'll see if this is going to work. Well, something gave. Yep, it's coming up. I'm gonna run out of thread here, though. I'm gonna have to put another spacer underneath. Nope, there she is. Okay, for anybody who wants to know what tool this is, I just got this from Amazon. I don't know if there's a manufacturer here. Doesn't really look like it. So let me pull this off. Okay. I used a couple of heavy-duty washers in there on the pilot. And I should be able to flip this over. And look at all the guts. Yep, there we go. So there's the guts here. And all the grease looks a little spent. Now I realize if I would have lifted this clutch out of there, I wouldn't be upside down. I get that, but it won't be a big deal to get this stuff all sorted. So I'll work on cleaning this up and get ready to grease it. Of course, I'm going to be changing out this bearing as well. Okay, so here's one of the springs here. It's got end caps on it, you know, again covered with grease. And then it's got this little shoe that goes in here. I'm gonna try to put these back in the same place. I'm guessing it doesn't matter, but I will try to do that. All this stuff has got to be fully cleaned. Just want to have a look at a couple of the parts here. These are some sort of plastic shoe. Now you can't get any of these parts anymore without like reverse engineering this stuff. So I don't think this would matter where these go, but I'm going to try to put them back in the same cavity. I'll put a mark on here, just a little hash mark, and call this number 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, and go from there. A lot of cleanup here for this grease. So I'll get the grease cleaned up and then I'll be back at it. Okay, for tonight I just decided to clean up this back housing of the Voith or Voth, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, flywheel. So I've got this cleaned up a little bit. This is just a rough cleaning. I want to clean in these teeth and everything with a brush, but I just wanted to kind of rough this in tonight. And I use LPS2 lubricant, so I sprayed a little bit of that on there just to keep any of this from corroding. So I'll get back to the flywheel part itself, gonna take the rest of this apart, get all the grease out. So this will be fun, stay tuned. Okay, so I've got the Voith housing completely disassembled and all cleaned up. All the old grease has been removed. I used a stainless steel brush on this, a Scotch-Brite. I like to use LPS2. Lubricated that while I Scotch-Brited, didn't harm any of the machine surfaces. And the outside is all cleaned up as well. There's a couple of dings on here and the threads. I might have to just chase that real lightly. But other than that, you know, all this diameter is in perfect condition. So I cleaned off the gear ring, the starter ring. So this is all cleaned up and ready to go. A little bit of residual LPS2 here. And I'll get working on the actual Voith dampening system next. Thanks for watching. Okay, here's the aluminum plates from the Voith assembly. I've got them mildly cleaned up. They're not perfect yet. So this one plate here, I'm gonna flip them over as I do it. The next plate, it's got some tapped holes. Flip this over. And then the lower plate, now this has the original O-ring. I'm gonna take this out and clean it, but I might replace it if I can get one. This is gonna be probably a fairly special O-ring, so I'm gonna see. I could probably reuse this one. I don't see why not. It's just a static O-ring. It's not a dynamic, meaning it's not spinning. Okay, and then over here, we have the old flywheel, which is getting replaced with the new Hill Engineering flywheel that I have over here. Okay guys, so here is the pumpkin all dirty and scummy. I've got another video which illustrates how I totally clean this up and get it to look in an absolutely brand new condition. You can see it looks just like a fresh die cast piece. Thanks for watching guys, have a great day.